Hey guys, what's up, guys?
Welcome to episode whatever.
It's episode who goddamn knows, because you're gonna watch every single one because we're the best podcast you ever listened to. This is Puff and Pass.
Puff and Pass!
Hello, and welcome to Puff and Pass. This is our third episode of the series.
I'm Miriam. Red, what's up?
I'm Bella.
Yo, what up? I'm Skeptic the Rapper. How you doing, son?
So before we get into it today, guys, I'm just gonna have a little content and trigger warning for everyone. We're gonna be talking about sensitive stuff. You know, I've mentioned it in previous episodes. Maybe family breakdown, violence. Maybe it's personal stuff, mental health. We might be talking about some subjects that are, you know, close to home. They're gonna get a lot of people's emotions if you're really listening. So if you need to, I recommend maybe getting someone you trust, like a trusted adult or a really good friend, and get them to sit down and watch this episode with you, so that if you have any questions or thoughts that start making you feel a certain way, you can talk about it immediately and just have someone there for you. So on today's episode, I'm going to jump back into kind of last week, and we're going to take off a little bit from there. So Bella's going to have a bit of an opportunity to talk about herself.
Yeah, so what would be the first experience that comes to your mind when it comes to drug relations?
Well, my first experience with drugs was when I was 13, and this is when I had just started high school. Like, I hadn't seen it in primary school. Like, we knew about it, but it wasn't really a big thing.
Yeah.
But someone had like weed cookies, and I had some, and I got really messed up in a science.
For your first like time, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot. I ate a lot of food. I know that people try to mess with me a bit,
like trying to kind of play with
make me do stupid shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was alright. Like, the next time, like, it was kind of more like, was the first time I smoked. So I had seen people smoke before, like, I knew, but I had never smoked myself.
Yeah.
And I tried it, and I didn't like it. But
just like didn't like the feeling of it.
Yeah, I didn't feel much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this isn't for me. Then when I was about 15, I tried it again, and I did enjoy it. And then someone was like recommending it for my PTSD.
Yeah.
And I decided to give it a go.
Like remedy purposes.
Yeah, it helped me sleep and shit.
Cool.
So that's when I started smoking.
Like recreationally, like started using a bit more often.
Yeah, I started smoking a lot.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Yeah. It just like kicked off out of nowhere. Yeah.
And like probably couldn't stop me at all. There was nothing anyone could probably do to stop me at that point in time, because I'd probably find a way.
Yeah, like you wanted it, you were gonna get to it. 15, that was still a while ago now. So have you been using like since then, or like did it, so it sounds like it's kind of phased in and out for you?
Yes. Well, I quit when I was 15. So then I turned 16. That's when I started smoking. I probably smoked until I was about like 17 and a half.
Okay. Yeah. So it's always been like a kind of phase thing. Not phase, but like
I did quit for a bit.
Yep. And why was that, if you don't mind me asking? Like, was there a particular reason you decided to?
I got really paranoid.
Okay, like you were getting paranoia from...
Pretty bad.
Yeah, from using.
So that's when I quit. Then I started back up again, actually, when I got back to school.
Okay. So, like, would you say it's because your peers around you were doing it, or you did it, like, to deal with going to school? Like, what? do you think?
Um,
The link. is
really
there?
wanting, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I wanted to do it, I guess.
Yeah, so you just wanted to have fun and just
Yeah.
recreationally use it.
Yeah.
That was your
Yes.
thoughts at the
But
time.
then I started again, so still smoke. I did quit for a bit again, and then I started drinking a bit more.
Yeah.
And then I just got back
So
onto
when
it.
you weren't smoking, like, were you only drinking when you were smoking, or were you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there was a period in my life where I just drank
okay, so
instead.
just alcohol and like no other substances, like not
Mm,
marijuana in
yeah.
particular. Yeah, just
Yeah,
alcohol.
but then I went back again. Yeah, I haven't really done any other drugs.
Yeah. Have you like been around them, like seen your friends take them, or
I
like?
have done like Xans before,
Okay. Yeah.
but whenever I do them, I don't remember what happens. So
Okay. Yeah. That's troubling. Isn't
Liter-
it? Yeah.
yeah, I
that's
literally
crazy.
woke up one day and I thought, did anything even happen? Like I thought I had just fell asleep,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and then I realized it's actually the next day, and I had been out
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah, like you had a full functioning day, like you were out.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it was full functioning or not,
no,
but you were out doing stuff.
I
and-
must have been enough that I didn't look like I was like awful.
Yeah, yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you for that instance in particular?
That was recent.
Okay, yeah. So as an older teen, that was
Yeah.
a young experience.
Because just not mentally been great, and
Okay, so it was like linked to mental health and just not feeling so good.
some stuff has happened to me, so
Yeah.
that's when I did that.
Yeah.
But also just thinking back on it, I did have a really bad period with alcohol
Okay.
when I was younger.
Like
Probably-
heavy drinking, constant drinking,
like my family had to lock up alcohol away from me.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I would drink like 4 bottles of like red wine
Yeah.
and be sick everywhere. And
Yeah.
and I was also on medication at the time that made me really angry.
Yeah, like it was impacting your mood
Yeah.
heavily. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just it's been a lot with that. I don't really think about it a lot.
Yeah.
But like I have seen drugs and stuff
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Like you'd know what they look like, sort
Yeah,
of thing.
I've had people in my life doing heavy drugs. I
Yep.
hadn't seen this happen, but I know of it, and
Okay.
I've seen the stuff, you know,
like the equipment
and their
paraphernalia.
reaction to it. And
Okay,
stuff
yeah.
too.
So the person's high or come
Yeah,
down or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, you've had to experience that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young or
I think this sort of stuff started maybe when I started actually noticing.
so once you realized kind of what was going on, like once you understood
A
what
bit
it
more.
was.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I'm not sure about like previously, but I've heard about previous use. But when I was like probably 14, 15, 16, around there.
Yeah.
That day.
Yep. Like you were seeing those impacts
Yeah.
on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you've seen that stuff firsthand.
Yeah, and I mean heavy, like meth.
yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, it's a
It's-
really bad.
it's scary
Yeah.
when you see someone like that.
And the
it was-
negative effects are so quick.
Yeah.
Like, they impact you straight away.
It was just an awful time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Immediate impact from a drug like that. From
Yeah.
for everyone around you,
Yeah.
for the user themselves.
Yeah.
So linking into now, I was going to maybe talk about some positive stuff. Can you think of any positive experiences that you've had around substance use, whether it be experiences you've had or places, people?
I guess meeting people has been nice. I have met some really good people.
Parties.
Yeah, just socializing with people. I think there's a big stereotype too that a lot of people who, like everyone that does drugs, is like
lazy and gross,
or like a
like they don't go out and do stuff or socialize with people or
yeah, but that's not true. And
so it's been the opposite for you, you're saying, like with your substance use, or not even you in particular.
I've met a lot of people that are probably more in the same boat of like mental health issues and just
people you can relate to. You found people that you can have conversations with about.
Yeah, well, probably not even just that, but like just kind of even that like knowledge of knowing that this person isn't like a crazy person because they do drugs, because I think that's what people think too, that people are crazy who do drugs.
Yeah, there's a lot of stigma around like, oh, you must be pretty fucked up if you're taking drugs.
I think there are people who are just coping, trying to get by, socializing.
Yeah, definitely. It's their way to kind of get out and do something with their friends sometimes.
And also I know people who keep it very private and stuff too, so it's a private thing for them too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who live functioning lives
that
don't really let anyone know about their addiction or anything, and they're just, they're out working still, taking their kids, depending on their age and whatnot, taking their kids to school or hanging out with their friends still. Like, there's a really big stigma around drug addicts being dirty and lazy is the two big ones. Yeah, dirty, lazy, and kind of like off the rails, like insane a little bit. Like there's always that, like you were just saying, that kind of, you must be fucked up if you're taking drugs, like if that's the type of person you are. So there's a really big stigma around that. But you're saying you've seen firsthand it's not necessarily always true.
No, there's definitely people like that around.
Oh yeah, but in every subculture, or every
but like it's like with everything, they should bring out with people stereotyping, they bring out the worst things, not the
good things, or the positive
things like friends and just socializing.
Definitely
getting to know people.
Awesome. So just people you
parties.
So you've had you've had some good experiences around, like by the sounds of it, like maybe just drinking, like light drinking, just hanging out with your friends and like
that's good time.
Just listening to music, kicking
just
back.
Out.
Awesome.
Even having a smoke with some people.
I find sometimes it's a good way to have like for me anyway, it's been a good way to have a conversation with someone. Like it's been a good gateway to us to have a conversation about something. Like
I feel
whether
like
it's
really kind of, it's such a private thing that like when you do it with someone, like someone's more likely, I feel like, to open up to you and talk to you.
Because it's a really private part of your life and you're sharing it with someone else. Definitely. Ty, do you want to add anything, man? Like, can you think of anything when me and Bella talk about that sort of stuff?
Well, like, I tend to flip things on its head a little bit. So I've like grown up like in a bit of a rough scene where doing drugs like tends to be like with pretty rough people. And you're doing stuff that would be like morally like questionable, and to me that's been a great experience because it's kind of shown me what I want to do, which is none of that. Which is none of that bad stuff, you know? It's taught me like what is really positive and what I should be doing, how I should be taking substances, stuff like that, etc.
Sure.
But if I were to like pick out a specific scenario, I got a buddy of mine, just a bit younger than me, works a really good job, is happy with what he's doing, very responsible kid. And like I've reconnected to him like lately because I knew him like when I was a little kid.
Childhood friends. Yeah.
But we kind of drifted because I started hanging out with a rougher
Different
crowd,
crowds.
doing dumb shit.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, I reconnect with this guy and I'm trying to keep my appearance up, try not to seem like the rough guy I sort of am. Because,
you're trying to play what image he gives you. You're trying to represent that back to him.
Yeah, because as I said, like he works a really good job. He's very respectable, talks really well with a lot of respect, a lot of manners.
Yeah,
like,
for
just
sure.
Overall good kid. And after more reconnecting with him, it turns out he's done more stupid stuff than I have. And that's like specifically with drug use.
Yeah.
And that's kind of taught me like you can sort of have your private things and still be like the best person in the room. Like, it doesn't like necessarily like make you a bad person or a rough person just because you're doing the specific thing. You can still do it and still not let it affect your goals in life.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it taught me that one, too much of anything is bad,
Yeah.
and anything in moderation is really good. Because obviously work hard, play hard, and this man showed me, well, exactly that you can work hard and you can play hard. And that was my positive experience, because it taught me, maybe I should get my act together. Maybe I should be doing more, but maybe I won't. Like, it's so hard to just say like, oh my goodness, like I got to give up.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
got to quit,
for
you know?
sure.
This is like taking control of me. Like, I think it's better to like hit the nail on its head and do what you love, because, let's be real, like drug use is something that people love doing, and you can still do that as long as, first of all, you're doing it safely, and second of all, you're doing it in moderation.
Yeah, in a proper environment,
That's
at a right
right.
age, with
That's
the right
right.
people.
So yeah, this kid younger than me taught me that I don't need to glorify my drug use. It doesn't need to be like a heavy part of me, but I shouldn't just shut it out and pretend it's not there.
Yeah,
you know?
so acknowledge that it's there, but don't over glorify it.
Yeah,
like it's not
exactly
something
that.
to just go shouting out about.
Yeah, exactly. And you can still maintain a really good life as long as you're
Yeah.
smart about it.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
I think it's because he had like a really good group of friends to teach him that,
Yeah.
as I have him to teach me that.
So good examples.
Yeah.
Like you still need to go to work. You still need to finish school.
That's
You've
right.
got to eat properly. You've got to
Yeah.
shower every day. Like those are still really important,
Yeah.
as they should be.
Yeah.
Obviously, those are really important things for you. They're your morals that you live by.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you eat before you buy drugs, or things like that. You make sure you've got your work uniform clean. You
Yeah.
make sure you've got your toothpaste, like just the basic shit. Make sure
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got your necessities before reaching
Yeah.
to your fun, if
Yeah.
that's what it is. If
That's
that's
right.
what you're
Yeah.
choosing to use as, before you reach that, you have to make sure you've got everything else in check. That's
Yeah.
a good way to live by.
Yeah, for sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think you were kind of saying that in the first or second episode, Bella, about how it was quite a private thing for you.
Yeah.
And like not a lot of people knew about it.
Yeah.
And like I feel like there's a lot of people who live like that, but like you were saying, as soon as you find someone that you can do that thing with, you become really vulnerable, and you're are able to open up to each other on a deeper level than just,
Yeah.
It's like, when you're with a work colleague and you kind of click at work, but you don't really have a decent conversation until you sit down, have a beer and a meal at the pub. Or, that's that sort of
Yeah.
scenario. Do you know what I mean? Being able to share.
Yeah,
You're
just-
vulnerable. You open up a bit more. Yeah, because they're doing the same thing I am when I get home. Like when we get home, we're doing the same thing. On the weekends, we're doing the same thing. Like I can relate. Yeah, and it makes a comfortable space for people to talk sometimes, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
My positive experiences personally, I have met incredible people from my use in particular. And even when I say that, I don't even particularly mean people who were using. Like, I have a really good example. One of my dear friends, we don't talk anymore really. We've kind of disconnected since we were younger. But me and this girl were really good friends when we were younger, and we were both smoking weed together, drinking together, smoking cigarettes. Nothing too heavy. Like it was just on the weekends. I think we were just kind of doing it to be cool. Like neither of us really were seeking it out for any other reason, and it was kind of just there. It was really easy for us to access because it's been around me my whole life, as I've said before. It was really easy for me to access. But her mum was actually the first person who ever sat me down and talked to me about drug safety, and I've never actually had a whole like, do you even know what you're doing? Do you even know what you're ingesting? Like, are you eating properly? Are you going to school? Like, you can't be doing these things before school. Like, how is your brain going to function before you go into a room? Like, you're not even eating properly, so you don't even have the right nutrients in your brain, and you're taking drugs as a kid, and you think that, that's going to do something for you. And it sucked to hear at first, but my friend's mum only had good intentions for me. And even though her daughter wasn't listening to her, she still tried really hard to have those conversations with me. And I took a lot of it in, like, as best as I could as a little kid who didn't really give a fuck what she was saying. I tried the best to take it in, but positive experience there was having a peer, like an older adult, notice what I was doing, and the first response was amazing. And I had a really good conversation with them about it. And like for hours, we stayed up for hours and hours and hours that night. And I was, they actually caught me having a cigarette out the back is what happened. And their mum's like, what are you doing? Like, that's disgusting. And at first, so the first response wasn't great. But then they sat down with me and we spoke about it for a while, and it was really good. It was a really comforting conversation to have, just to have an adult's opinion, an adult's education and kind of advice, and they've been through stuff like that. So it was a really enlightening conversation to have, and it was really like made me feel human, made me feel valid. It was really good. And just, yeah, people I've met in general, a lot of my friends who don't even use anymore, like just because we met at a party or we met because they were at the dealer's house that I was at the same time or something like that, and we have lifelong friendships that like really mean something to me, you know what I mean? And we met through not necessarily the best circumstances, but it was a really positive outcome because those people are really big support for me in my life, and I'm able to go to them about things like that. So we used to seek out nature places to go smoke weed at, and I have been to the most serene, beautiful, green, luscious places to go do that sort of thing. And I wouldn't have gone there for any other reason, just for a walk with my friends. We're a bunch of stoners. We don't care about that. We just wanted to sit back and relax. But some of the places that we've been to, whether we were forced there or it was on the way or, you know, whatever the reason might be, I've been to incredible places I never would have seen unless me or my friends were seeking out somewhere to use our substances, which is not safe and not recommended. Don't do that. It's not good. But it helped me see a lot of the world that I hadn't really seen before, like Adelaide at night and a lot of parks and places. But yeah, you kind of looked like you had something to say before?
Yeah, well, sort of the same scenario. Like, I think I just came in a school, primary school, maybe like 6th grade, 7th grade, and I just like smelt like smoke or whatever. I probably just finished smoking a ciggy like
yeah.
at the front of the school
But
gates.
puffing a cigarette out the front.
Yeah, like I didn't really care why I was doing it, and like went into class. Everyone's kind of like freaking out, like, what's that smell? And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, like, what are these guys talking about? Because I've just normalized it so much at this point. And my teacher pulls me out and says, like, look, like, we can all smell it. And again, still, I've like no idea what they're talking about. And again, like, she, you know, sits me
Primary
down.
school?
Yeah, primary school. It's like
yeah.
6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
And my teacher sits me down. She, you know, and it was just really good because I didn't get in any trouble. She could have told my dad straight away.
Oh
like,
yeah, wow.
Look, I had a
So before even contacting your parents,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
sat you down.
That's
and,
right. I had a whole pack of like I probably had a pack of 20 Super Kings because those were like the easiest things to buy like at my age at the time. It's the cheapest, you know, long lasting, whatever. I have a 20 pack in my pocket, and she could have instantly called my dad, you know, before I could have even sat down and had the conversation with my dad, like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
She could have called my dad, got me in a like whole world of trouble, but instead she's like, are you okay? Which is kind of like a really positive thing. Like, she didn't lecture me. She didn't say, look, you shouldn't be doing this. She's like, are you okay?
Because obviously year 6, 7 students shouldn't be
Oh yeah.
out seeking cigarettes and wanting
yeah.
to have cigarettes. Like, clearly, yeah.
And yeah, at the time, I didn't really have many issues at this time of my life. So I was just kind of smoking because I was.
It was around you.
It was just a daily practice. I had a whole packet of ciggies in my pocket. What else am I going to do with it?
Yeah,
but it just meant a lot to me that like an adult, like this kind of switched my opinion like on adults and how you can connect with them, because I always
so that's really cool. An experience you had kind of changed how you saw first responders in
exactly
a way.
that, because I just kind of had the opinion adults don't understand us. They don't care.
You don't know what it's fucking like.
They're really trying to, you know,
it's your job to care.
Yeah,
you're paid to care. You don't care.
That's right.
Yeah, man, for
and
sure.
this teacher just like, look, I'll keep it between you and me, like, just be safe if you need help. Like, again, I'm not struggling with anything at this time of my life. That, you know, trying to, you know, give me help that, you know, other kids definitely needed.
Yeah,
you know, other kids who were smoking at that age definitely needed.
For sure.
I was lucky enough that I didn't need that help, but it really switched me on. It really switched me on that, like, all people are people.
Yeah.
Age doesn't necessarily mean how you're going to treat someone. It was really cool to, like, see this person who normally, like, if you're wearing the wrong socks to school, she's like,
rip your line.
She's like telling you to get your shit together. But when it comes to a serious problem, they were more than willing to have a serious conversation in a way that the kid would sit there and listen to it. So I think,
receive it better.
yeah. So I think that'd be my positive experience when it comes to first responses would be that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so that teacher in particular kind of helped you realize like there are adults out there who kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like, care. They actually
That's right.
give a
Yeah,
fuck. Yeah. They understand the situation.
Yeah, like-
they actually care about what's going on.
Yeah, like they're not all there just to get you in trouble or to tell you what to do.
After detention.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like my dad still doesn't know about that situation to this day.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I was
Like-
just about to ask you, I'm like, did your dad ever find out about
And
that?
no, and it was pretty good because it like got me to get my shit together. Obviously, have a smoke 10 minutes before going to school
Yeah,
and
that's
spray
it.
myself with deodorant before
Yeah,
coming,
that's
which is
it.
really good because it sets you up later in life for appeal. Like when you're trying to
Yeah.
make a good first impression,
Definitely.
like obviously,
like
probably
any job interviews, 50% representation
Right.
and looks.
or like maybe a couple years later after I started dating girls and stuff, I always knew spray myself with deodorant. The
don't
dad
smell
probably
like cool.
don't smell like a cigarette because the dad
Yeah.
probably won't be happy with that.
cool, man.
Yeah, so it
and
really-
you learned like young, like
Yeah. So it really set me up to be like,
like that one response stuck with you for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
long.
So yeah,
Does it still make an impact?
oh
to
for
this
sure.
day?
So it taught me two things that I've used for the rest of my life. One, people give a shit.
yeah, sweet. man.
You just got to find the right
Fucking
people.
oath.
And two, present yourself a bit better.
Yeah, sweet.
Just simple thing. Spray yourself with a bit of deodorant. Take
Yeah.
a breath mint.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Care
yeah.
about how you look and how you smell. Like
Right.
your
especially if
overall
you're
representation.
especially if you're trying to keep yourself discreet.
Yeah,
Like-
that's
Yeah.
it. If you're trying to live a professional life
Yeah, yeah.
on the side, you
Yeah,
need,
exactly
you need to
that.
look professional.
Yes.
Definitely. Like my first interview for this, like it was higher end fast food, and the building that I went to for the interview was fuck off huge. It was ridiculous. It was like a mansion on the inside, tiled floors. Like they had like fancy coffee machines and all their different franchises. They had their food prepared there ready to eat. And I'm like, is this like for real? Like, is this an actual job interview? This is insane. And I wore like, I don't know, I think just like a black shirt and black. I'm like, I need to go home and get changed. Like, and I got the job, funnily enough, but like just that feeling of like, oh my God, do I look like a drug addict? Like that was actually the thought going through my head. Like, do
Yeah.
I look like a scraggly little drug user from Woodville North who doesn't care about this job? Because I do care about this job and I've worked really hard to get to this job interview and I'm here and like, do I smell like cigarette? Like I've actually had that thought, or is there, because I don't like throwing my butts on the ground. That's a really big thing.
Your
One.
cigarette butt.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
drives me insane. I hate throwing my cigarette butts on the ground. I will put it in my pocket before I will throw it on the ground. I always try to put it in a bin or put it somewhere I can get it later. I'm really fucking thing about that. I'm like, do I have a cigarette in my pocket? Like, you've always got that,
Yeah.
that thing, the representation of yourself, for sure. Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. I live by that, but I've still never really evaluated it like that. Like, yeah, or even like, are my eyes red? Like, do they know I'm like fuck living like that? It's I think that induces paranoia as well in a way. It's
Yeah.
like, shit, does everyone know I'm high? Like, it's not a fun experience. It's not good for you to be doing. You can't focus properly. You can't ground yourself in situations. It's no good for you. Like, no good for you. Especially if you are, I don't know, maybe you've got some important exams or, I don't know, a class presentation or something, and you've got that in the back of your head. Like, it can really affect you, I feel like. So yeah, I'm going to talk about gateway drugs. I've actually got some science and facts behind a lot of that, like some studies that were done that I think are really interesting and really cool to look at. But before we get into that, what do you guys, when I say gateway drug, like what comes to your head when do you go, that's fucking bullshit? Or do you go, no, that's real? Like, what do you guys think when I say that sort of thing? Bill?
I guess it depends on the person.
Okay, so like a person's mentality and social.
Yeah, also how they are at the time.
Yeah.
Are they in a vulnerable position where they're more likely to try something
Okay,
new
fair enough.
like
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I only say this because for a good while I had felt like, I didn't need anything else.
Yeah, for sure. Like you were satisfied with what you were getting from
Yeah.
your substances. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, but I definitely think that it could be a problem for other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people kind of have that thing where it's like, that's not enough. I need
Like they chase a
Yeah,
higher
yeah.
drive, like they want
Yeah.
more, seeking
Yeah.
more. Yeah. So you reckon that, so you'd say that, yeah, it's a thing, but it depends on the situation entirely. Like,
Yeah.
every situation's different.
But like I've grown up with people smoking all my life. But like I can see it because I guess it was very normalized to me as a child to smoke, like for smoking. Like I wasn't thinking, like people would be like, don't do it, so I wouldn't do it because I'm scared of that. But
Yeah.
you know, I did it when I was in a vulnerable time. A lot
Yeah,
of the
for
time
sure.
when I'm gonna do something, it's more when I'm a bit more vulnerable
Yeah.
than normal.
Opposed to, feeling happy and like you're doing really good in your life, you're in a good position financially and, you know, in your house and everything.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling shit, it's easier to reach out for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's easier to look for that
And
sort
also
of thing.
not deal with your problems.
Yeah, like
in a
just
way.
using it as a blanket. Just throw a blanket on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. What do you think?
I
man,
think Bella
when
makes a great point. I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, it's all dependent on the person. I know
For sure.
for me specifically, if I didn't smoke weed, I wouldn't have snorted lines the next month after
Yeah,
at Kilkenny Warehouse, you know? But I know people...
It was a progressive thing for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I've also met people who have smoked weed for the first time and have either like just didn't like the way it feels, like they're like, oh shit, that sucks on the throat, or it's made them too paranoid, and now they don't touch anything at all because they're like, fuck that.
It's scared them.
That was shit. Who the
sure.
fuck wants to do that sort of thing?
Sure.
So again, it's all dependent on the person and what situation you're in, you know? So yeah.
Definitely. No, I definitely have to agree with that one before we talk about any science or anything, because we're real fucking people who are dealing with the gateway drugs and everything. I think our opinion on that matters a lot, and I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. Like, I think that it depends on the social situation, you know, what that person's thoughts and feelings are at the time. Like, imagine you're probably going to be a lot less likely to drink if your mum and dad die 1 week versus you buy a new puppy the next week. Like, you got to think of situations. Like, I know it's a crazy fucking example.
It's like that situation, like some people whose parents maybe have been alcoholics, right? For their while they were growing up, will never want to touch alcohol.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
but then some people will go to the same sort of way.
That's it. You always hear about that story.
Do. And it's like, not saying that that's everyone, or
definitely,
but it just depends on the person and how they perceived it in life.
No, that's great because like there's a story of two twin brothers. Dad's an alcoholic, an abusive alcoholic.
I was just about to bring that up. Actually.
One brother's an entrepreneur or a lawyer, great job, making great money, does not drink at all. Other brother, full blown alcoholic, just abuses his girlfriend. You know, and people ask them, how did you become like this? And they both said that they watched
because
their
of
dad.
My dad.
Yeah.
Why are you an alcoholic? Because my dad was an alcoholic. So why are you so successful? Because my dad was an alcoholic. For sure.
It's also, too, like, people could grow up in the best situation possible, right? They, like, you could, I don't know.
Have it all.
Whatever.
Whatever
normal.
Whatever you define that as, for sure.
But still fall into something like that, because anything can happen in someone's life.
Exactly.
That makes that sort of
And like I've said before, different levels of trauma and different levels of pain are different for everyone. Whether it's, I don't know, losing your pet dog or someone took away your favorite teddy bear. I use that example all the time because it's a reasonable thing to be upset about, you know. So really quickly on some science about gateway drugs and stuff.
Facts and stats,
The
son.
facts and the statistics, son. So I was looking through a few different websites. First of all, I want to talk about, I don't know if I'm looking into a camera right now. I want to listen to me. I got a bone to pick with drugabuse.com. And my bone to pick is that you are an excellent site. They have a lot of great information. It's really frustrating. Because they have a lot of great information about a lot of studies that were done that aren't really mainstream to access. And I fact-checked everything, and I was really happy with what I was getting. The name of the website is drugabuse.com. Can you imagine that you're trying to look up some statistics and some facts and stuff, and you're just told that you're a drug abuser, that right there is a really good example of how negative language and stigma is thrown in your face as a user every day. Even when you're seeking out positive information, or, you know, they have on drugabuse.com, they have sites for like organizations that help you get clean or help you cut down, like whatever your goal is. And it's called drugabuse.com. Like, you don't want to admit you're a drug abuser. Yeah. Oh, I'm a drug abuser. How does that make you feel? It could be
really triggering to some
that's fucking
people.
horrible.
I guess in a way I can kind of see that, like, that's the technical terminology.
But we need some better language. We need better language and better stigma. So anyway,
be very triggering.
Yeah.
Hit me with the facts,
some
son.
quick facts.
Hell yeah.
So they tested this on rats because rats have the most similar brain functionality to any animal in the kingdom to humans. They use rats for these studies, and to do with gateway drugs, marijuana being a gateway drug. And it was shown that the rats who were given marijuana, the second time that they were given marijuana, THC in particular, the second time they were given THC or a different drug, their brain was more receptive to the effects of the drug second time using. So THC itself has been proven in rats, which would cross over to our anatomy and how we work. They've proven in rats that THC is a primer for other drugs. So whether you're re-exposing yourself to THC or it's nicotine or alcohol, in particular, these rats were tested with codeine, and they were twice as more reactive to the results of the codeine than rats who hadn't been previously exposed to THC. So in a way, scientifically, weed, THC in particular, can make other drugs' reactions react in your brain more. Your brain's more receiving of those chemicals, and it's like a primer for paint. That's literally what it's called. Like, they've called it a primer. In adults that had alcohol problems, they did this big survey. It's in Australia, they did a survey in Australia, the government did it. It showed that the adults who smoked cannabis without drinking were twice as likely to build up an alcohol-related disorder, whether it be like cancer or alcoholism or financial problems from alcoholism. Adults who smoked, like young adults, I think it was 18 to 25, young adults who smoked marijuana were twice as likely to later in life have an alcohol disorder. But it also says in that website that marijuana users who only recreationally use marijuana they're less likely to move on to harder or different substances. So yes, marijuana it can be scientifically a gateway drug, but even this website itself said it's all about social environment, mood and feelings, thoughts and impacts, who you're with at the time, what you're going through and how you're feeling, like how much you're earning, what class bracket you're in society, you know?
So pretty much like the weed can prepare yourself for other drugs, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll go do those other drugs.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to smoke weed and go, oh, I want to go take acid now. That's not how that works, but it makes your brain more receptive to the effects of those drugs.
Right, yeah.
So when you're really young, not only are you slowing down your dopamine levels and your serotonin and things like that, you're also priming your brain to be more receptive of other drugs when you're older. So if you do choose to take other drugs when you're older, because of the weed that you ingested when you were younger, it's primed your brain for heavier reactions from harder drugs and different drugs. So it's going to get you even more, and you're either going to really enjoy that or you're going to get grabbed by the balls and probably have a really bad, dangerous high and a really dangerous, unpleasant experience. So that's just some science on gateway drugs, the term gateway drug, because it's used a lot, I find, by adults and first responders, and it's thrown in your face that even if you're just smoking weed, but weed's a gateway drug. That's always the first thing thrown in your face. It's just about gateway drugs and some science behind that. And go to drugabuse.com.
Do it.
Go, and you can read these facts for yourself. They're all there on the internet for you to read. I fact-checked it. I was really happy with that website. Change your name. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming in this week. I really appreciate it. Good chat as always. Breaking down some stigma, getting some education and awareness on the streets.
What?
Woo!
How the fuck do we wrap this up?
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming in. We'll be dropping some links for the websites that I've mentioned, and we will see you next week.
Puff and pass.